I'm ready. Welcome, everybody, to another Fireside Chat. I'm here to recommend bring your s'mores, stay a while, sit down and get comfy. I'm Margaret Pennard. Welcome to my channel. I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author hosting these chats for the month of August, where I invite a new creative guest every weekday at 5 p.m. Pacific to dazzle us with their talent. So today we have Olivia Atwater. Say hello and give us like a glimpse of what you write and how you are creative in general, please.
Hello. You said dazzle and now I'm afraid. I'm like, I'm like, oh no, I didn't come with
dazzling. So
I didn't come here with a dazzling personality. I left it in my other pocket. I'm a historical fantasy author. So I had the Regency fairy tales are the best known stuff. I wrote those indie originally, and then Orbit picked them up and republished them. So that's Half a Soul, 10,000 Stitches, and Long Shadow. And I'm currently working on, let's see, I just finished my first Victorian fairy tale, which will be coming out as soon as I have my schedule finalized. And Echoes of the Imperium, which is an epic fantasy that I'm co-writing with my husband.
Echoes of the Imperium. Ooh, I love the title.
Awesome. He's particularly good with puns. It is yeah.
Okay. All right. I think if you are a fan of my channel, you are an appreciator of puns. So anyone out there, raise your hand. Let us know if that's a fair assumption. So I can actually show you a little image. Okay. So this is the book that I was familiar with from Olivia before, and I am so happy to be able to say I finally read it this weekend. I gave myself permission to jump off my TBR wagon, read something crazy fun, and then, jump back on the wagon. But I loved it, so I'm very happy to be able to say, yay, I did it in advance, and now I could tell Olivia, yay, I loved it. Yay! And I am officially baptized into the cozy fantasy realm, because I think this is the first cozy fantasy that I've read. Is that fair to say that that's the genre?
Yeah, it's been called cozy fantasy a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, so that's the book. We're here to do creative games and exercises to sort of recharge our batteries. So, like, baseline, how are you feeling battery charged wise or creative well wise?
Well, I literally, when I say I just finished my first Victorian fairy tale, I mean like quite literally. I think yesterday I got my final touches on it, and my brain is still kind of it's like the hamster on the wheel, or like no, it's like Wile E. Coyote, where like he's run off the edge of the cliff and he hasn't like stopped running yet. Okay. So I'm still waiting for my brain to catch up with the fact that I'm done. It keeps trying to be like, surely there's something else you could do.
Right. Yeah. I know that feeling. Okay, cool. Well, I was going to ask, are there any like new directions you've been exploring? But if I'm hearing right, that means that you went from Regency to Victorian. So maybe we'll talk about like the different research that you did, or like what spawned that. Maybe the husband is more of a Victorian lover than a Regency lover, but I'm very interested.
So the epic fantasy is not at all. I think it's a second. The epic fantasy is a secondary world. So I would say that it's more like World War I-ish technology, but very fantasy. Okay. So the Victorian fairy tale is one that I did on my own.
Oh, okay.
But it was kind of a natural progression of that. Like, I think I'm done with the Regency era, so I'll just continue on a few years and do some Victorian ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, the best thing about it is that when I did the Regency fairy tales, they were to some extent a kind of playing around with the Regency genre. So the Regency genre and the real Regency time period, two very different things in many respects.
Right.
We've come to associate, like, with the Regency genre certain things that were only a teeny tiny part of the era. And then those things kind of become larger than life and overtake the genre. Like, it's very colorful, it's very high society, manners, lots of marriage mart stuff. Like, there are certain tropes that you expect in a Regency novel. And so
I would actually say that Regency is the genre. I think you're probably referring to Regency romance.
Yes. Yeah.
Have some different things, right? So Regency doesn't just refer to always the same thing. It's just
no, you could have a Regency mystery. Although I do think that, like, a lot of that has, even the stuff from the Regency romance genre, I think has infected kind of the Regency mystery genre.
Okay.
But yeah, all to say, like, the original Regency, like the Regency fairy tales, ended up being to some extent an exploration of both the actual era and also some of those tropes, and like lampshading a few of them and kind of examining a few of them. So with the Victorian fairy tales, I'm again looking at another genre, which is the Gothic genre, which means that they're a lot darker, and I get to play with whole new tropes. And I don't think I've completely lost the whimsy, but it's definitely a different shade of it. Definitely more, gosh, what's that movie with Tom Hiddleston? It's like, it is a Gothic movie. I can't remember, but the imagery from that is very relevant.
I bet Anita will come to your rescue. We'll wait for someone to weigh in and supply our IMDb brain.
I'm sure someone's Googling. All to say, Victorian fairy tales, Crimson Peak.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So the Victorian fairy tales are much darker. They play with a lot of the. There we go. They play with a lot. We got lots of people weighing in. Yes, we got a lot of the Gothic tropes and stuff I'm messing around with, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Nice. And we do have folks in the chat I wanted to say hello to. Felicia was first. Felicia's always first in these chats, which I highly respect. I don't know how she is always on time, but I appreciate that. Jennifer Brown, hello, saying, dang, you're fast. Same as well. We have Starwatch Press, Mr. Atwater here. Hello, to provide some cheerleading and support from the sideline. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening. Thank you. Anita is here to say hello. Anita, of course, the one that enabled our first meeting, Olivia, which is lovely. Cool Gamers here to say hello. Anita putting in her oar for Olivia Wright's delightful books. Big fan.
Thank you.
And Cat's Novel Adventures is here. And yes, I think this is a hand raise for the pun appreciating. So definitely. And Leslie is tomorrow's guest from Books, Gers, and Purrs. So dog and cat lover. Obviously, hope you'll join for that. Dark Gothic fairy tales. Yeah, Crimson Peak. Okay, we got everybody. Cynthia here. Hello. Lovely. Nice to see all these friendly faces. So, what are you opting to do with your time to fill the creative well? You said you just finished a work in progress, but you're meaning to do what tonight?
I'm editing on another one.
Glutton for punishment. That's what we call it here.
I know I will probably burn myself out, but I'm not there yet. So it's one of those, like, I'm still off the edge of the cliff and running.
It's like the I don't know, the hype, the energy, the happy.
Yeah. You're like, hey, I finished something. I should finish something else.
Yeah. It's defying gravity. It's just like falling off the cliff. I love it.
Echoes of the Imperium is actually, like, technically done. It's just that, like, we're in heavy editing, so I'm in the editing stage of it. So
got it. And okay, so I think I got confused earlier when you were talking about fantasy epic, and the Victorian. So what is the title of the Victorian fantasy?
So the Victorian fantasy is called The Witch Would Not.
Okay. So I did see that mentioned on your Patreon. The Witch Would Not.
Yes.
And Echoes of the Imperium is the fantasy epic.
Yep.
Okay, got it. All right, so we're gonna dive into the first sprint. I'm gonna call it a sprint, even though it's just like a session. There's no sprinting. No one's gonna win. We're just competing against ourselves. So let me set up our little.
I can win against myself. I'm a pushover.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. Okay, so let me get our timer together though. So 12. Always a bit dodgy when you try to do math while other people are watching. So check my math. But we're going to do 30 minutes of creative exercise, which means 15 and 15 and share in between. So we'll start and go for 15 minutes and then come back to say what we got done and yay or nay, right? So if everyone's ready, tell us what you're working on in the chat and then go ahead and dive in. Ready?
I guess so.
Okay, so I'll mute myself and then I'll pop back in 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that is our first session. Let me take that off.
Oh, that went quick.
Yeah, I know. 15 minutes is a highly focused. But I feel pretty good. Okay, so we didn't. I do this different every time. So what you're editing? Is there any details you want to give about like where it's set or the timing or like anything related to other worlds that might be similar for your readers?
Well, the as I said, the technological level is kind of like World War One-ish. It is a steampunk fantasy. Steampunk epic fantasy. We keep adding adjectives here, but they do all apply.
Okay, well then I would background. Boom.
Huh? Oh, I see. The main character, there's a first-person perspective, which is different, very different from my stuff alone. The main character is a goblin airship captain named William Blair.
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of swashbuckling hijinks. As Mr. Atwater is involved, lots of puns. Lots of witty dialogue. He's very good at all of the above.
Excellent.
And I also find his combat scenes are much better than mine. Like, honestly, like, we balance each other out so much because I'm less on the descriptive side. I'm always like, oh, I want to get to I like dialogue, I like character work, I like plot. I'll get very Machiavellian with how my plots will fall out. But with him, it's like atmosphere and mood and hijinks, and like it's so between us we make a whole author.
That sounds very interesting. That sounds like a fun partnership. So very cool. So editing on both sides, and I said, well, if you're both editing the same thing, then there might be an element of competition in that sprint. So we'll have to check in with him in the chat.
Yeah, so it's part of why it is harder for it's harder for us to do co-written stuff than stuff on our own. It takes longer.
Yeah.
But it turns out so much better. So basically what ends up happening is, he'll do an edit pass and then I'll do an edit pass, and like we track changes. So I'm basically right now editing the stuff that I'm like, okay, I can accept that, tweak this a little, accept it. And then the ones that I have questions about, I'll wait, and then I'll do all of those with him at once. Be like, why would you make it, like, what's the purpose of this change, so I can understand, and then like, is there a different way we could do that, or things like that.
Right. Nice. Very cool. I have yet to co-write with anyone, so let's see. That seems like a uniquely difficult task, so I don't know if that'll ever happen. But I feel pretty good. The thing that I was working on is, so throughout this month when I've worked on WIP with other people, I had 2 short stories that I tried to mix together, and I realized it's not going to work. So now I've been surgically taking them apart again, so that there's like an 1840s story with a Charlotte Collins after the fact character, and that's going to be supernatural. And then there's also an 1880s story that is interconnected short stories and historical fiction. So that's what I was working on tonight. And when I last left off, I was looking at the order and how I could make interconnected short stories into an arc. And so what I was working on was like beefing up the relatedness and like the mentions of the related threads between the short stories scenes that I did. So I'm like, okay, I could see that, and I can see this, and not writing, but sort of like fleshing out an outline, which is the backwards order for me.
That counts as writing.
It's like a new process, so it's going to require new steps, I guess, or out of order steps. So I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, so let's throw it to the chat. What did you guys work on? So Melissa Ike came in to say bonsoir, working away over on her own sprints, but I'll share the link. We love it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful fireside chat. We got another bonsoir à tous. Would you believe it? I'm also working on something called heck of a coincidence. Heck of a. Oh my goodness. Okay, you're gonna have to come up with your favorite word in a second because I didn't give you that lead in earlier. Oh.
It seems appropriate. We got all this French around. My favorite word is French.
Okay, so in case you don't know, there's a secret giveaway on August 31st, the last day of this crazy month of Fireside Chats. And all you need to do is watch the episode, get the favorite word of the guest or me, and write it in a comment. It doesn't have to be used in a sentence. You could just say the word, and that means you're entered to win. And you're going to win a bookish package from me. It's going to be an actual box if you're in the United States, and it's going to be like an envelope with still cool stuff if you're international, but affordability. So Olivia, what is your favorite word for the day?
That would be the wonderful all-purpose swear word, tabarnak, which is
cry.
Yeah, depending on how angry you are when you say it, it can either be like a kind of really, like, I'd say like edge on bad word, or it can just be a little bit on the mild side. Although you could say tabernouche, which is kind of silly. It's like the crap,
Yeah. Nice. Well,
but it has those hard syllables. It makes it really satisfying to say. And none of your English friends will get upset with you for saying it.
I don't have very many English speaking friends who get upset when I say bad words anyway, so I think I'm rolling with the right crowd.
I think you are. Actually, it's funny because given the level of how, I guess how wholesome a lot of the stuff that I write is, people expect that I'm a certain way, and I'm really not. I swear like a sailor. I'm very careful not to do so online because I have a lot of kids who read my stuff. So I'm like, I don't want to do a guest appearance and say a bad word and have their parents get angry at me.
Someone was just on who said that. That might have been Cynthia. I think it was Cynthia. I think it was my last guest. So, excellent. Yeah. So tabarnak, you end it with a K, even though it's an abbreviation of tabernacle. This is a word in English.
Yeah. I've actually seen it spelled technically a few different ways, but tabernacle with a K is, I think, the most common spelling.
I think I remember that from like wherever my mom got her Asterix and Tintin like translated comics. I think they might have been Canadian because like instead of Tonnerre de Brest or whatever he says, it makes no sense to American kids. Like I think tabarnak was in there, so I remember like learning that.
That's possible. Yeah. No one says tabarnak in France. Like it's purely a Quebecois thing. That's
pretty awesome. Okay, so we had a Michael Lombardo, crackling fire giving me autumnal vibes, but it's still summer. We're all wishing it was fall.
We're like on the edge. We're almost there.
All right, so Star Watch Press was responding to the fact that one of my scenes, I was wondering if I should make someone an unreliable narrator by saying everyone's a bit of a biased narrator, aren't they? Suppose it depends on how much you want the reader to come to trust or not this unreliable narrator of yours. Very good point. Anita says, I made progress with the headless corpse chase.
Headless corpse chase? What? I need to know about this.
Yes. Tell us which project this is and what the estimated date of publication is, Anita, if you have one. Oh, Nia is here to say hello.
Hello.
Yes, Olivia is very good at those things. I'm not sure which things. We were just talking about several, but
we could just say I'm good at everything, and I mean, covers a lot of ground.
Esther, hello, Esther. Done with starting my bujo for September. Now to get some food and then write 1.5 or 2 chapters. I like that.
Definitely in that order.
Yes, that feels like reachable goals. Self up with Andy. Hello. How you doing? Let's see. Sensing a French theme is favorite words lately.
Well, you know a lot of Canadians for some reason, so
they're great booktubers. What can I say? Yeah, the last person on, Cynthia, said pantoufle. That's a lovely word. Why not? Yes. Andy's saying, what did I miss? Everything, Andy. You have to go back and rewatch. Oh, so we're saying hello. Yes, Annie says tabernacle very popular in French Canada. Yes, all-purpose Quebecois swear word. We also don't want to swear and demonetize someone on YouTube. Not a problem at the moment.
Yeah, no one's going to demonetize you over tabernacle.
I'm the same way. I swear all the time, except when I'm online.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This needs a meme from like that guy drinking liquor. I don't always swear, but when I do, I'm not online. Something like
it reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever played I don't know if you've ever played like online competitive games. But the healer is always the saltiest person. And like, so you have this like, and the healer always looks really sweet. And like the character models are always like, oh, I'm this anime girl with wings or whatever. And then whoever's playing that healer is like, oh my God, get over here. I'm trying to heal you. What are you doing, you idiot?
Yeah. Who was I just watching? It was someone it was someone for the Stygian collection. Linda Paley is a manga reader, and she's one of the Stygian authors, and she was commenting on the hilarity of the two Japanese anime creators, because one does these like brilliant, dreamy, childlike worlds, but he's salty, and then another horror manga, gross, like body horror things that are very disturbing, and he's like a shiny daisy of a person in interviews, and I was like, that's pretty.
I want to say that's Hayao Miyazaki and Junji Ito.
Sounds right. Just let the words wash over me, because I don't know them, but yeah, she painted a very vibrant picture of the difference, which I thought was cute. Oh, okay. So the Headless Corpse Chase. It's my steampunk paranormal detective stories. This one, steampunk paranormal detective series. Okay, this one has corpses animating and losing their heads. The detectives were following one to find the villain. Oh, okay. Is this the corpses? Is this coming out in October? Oh no, ready next year. Okay, excellent.
I was gonna say that would be a great October release, but
yeah, sounds like an awesome story. Yep, very cool. Okay. Speaking of next year and speaking of like plans afterwards, I did have a couple of announcements. I didn't want to forget. I already like forgot to say them. So wondering, before we jump into our second work session, Fireside Chats will continue. So instead of this crazy pace, this was sort of the launching pad pace. I'm going to have 2 a month. So like approximately every other Friday, and same time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'll have guests on and fun people. So look forward to this in the future, just not at as much a breakneck pace. And what you were looking for the giveaway thing is the last day of the month, this Thursday, August 31st. That's when we're going to do the giveaway. It's when I'm inviting some of my friends from A Mighty Blaze on. So literary fiction, historical fiction, those kinds of folks. And we're going to have a blast because we're all going to do our own different creative games and like share them around. So we'll probably go a little longer, but have a wild, fun ride of a time. So join us on Thursday. And final thing, Friday, September 1st. So when all of this is over, we're coming back on Friday to celebrate with an original Martha Jones song. So there's all these words, right? Everyone's given their favorite word to enter into the giveaway contest. Martha has taken all these words and made them into a song. So it's a crowdsourced Martha Jones song, which is Chef's Kiss. And yes, I already know I'm going to have to mute myself because I'm going to be laughing too hard because her songs were great. So she's going to premiere it Friday, September 1st on my channel. I'm very excited. So come back for that. Oh, man. Okay. All right. I'm on the 4th scene of 10. Let's see if we can get to the 8th one by the next 15 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, what is this? Zombies? Okay, Kat's excited because Anita's talking about zombies. Kat, have you met Anita, A.F. Stewart? She's got... Oh, and someone else left a comment on the last one recommending a zombie. Rachel did. It was... I will send it to you later. Someone left a comment recommending zombies that talk to you. And so I was like, oh, I have to get that to her. Going to hop off, need to decompress from the day. relax, Andy. Have a good evening. Nina says fairy tales and nightmares coming out in October. Nice.
Oh.
Kat says, will fairy tales and nightmares be published in a physical book? Yes, I need paperback for a book fair, so they will be up on Amazon at least before the ebook. Oh, that's interesting. Nice. Michael Lombardo says a mighty blaze plus a fireside chat. Somebody call Nelly. Right, a blaze on the fireside. I don't know. I guess I wanted to give some extra oomph to my metaphors. Yeah, it's getting hot here. I like it. Yes, I'm subscribed to the channel. Sweet. Okay. Zombies for the win. Everyone loves zombies in the chat. Okay, so 42. Let me get my timer back up here. 15, 57. And boop, boop, and boop. All right, rock and roll. Have fun, everybody.
Burn it. Throw it in the fire.
Burn it down. Either way. I got caught up. I went over by a minute.
Pooh, bad on you. I mean, I got more work done. It's fine.
All right. Okay. That was good. I got up to 7. So close. No more unreliable narrators, but I'm considering who to relate to whom in terms of the threads of the stories. How about you? How are you feeling?
Mostly,
I want to give you.
yeah, no, it's going well. I'm mostly doing like clarity edits right now, making sure that like I'm very pedantic about clarity in writing and making sure that it's always super obvious what I'm talking about and who's doing what and where they are and things like that.
That is helpful. Yeah. Yeah. One of my notes to myself is actually I do like a sum up of the actions that have happened over 3 generations, and I think that's gonna go too fast for people who aren't immersed in this. So I need to like have a family who had this happen to them, then this, so that it's like demonstrable example rather than what I had. So yeah, clarity's good. Okay. Kat's wants to read a newest book during Folklore February because that's a readathon the Cat is running, which is a brilliant plan. Kat says currently working on my September TBR. Very nice. How many readathons are you attempting? My good lady. Oh, it's always so tempting to try to do all the readathons. Pages with Paige just came out with her like September readathon smorgasbord, and I think there were 31. So,
oh my gosh.
Don't overextend yourself. But it's fun. It's kind of fun to try to do it as a game. Okay, well, good. That is feeling like good progress to me. Yay. Let me refresh everyone's memory. Olivia's favorite word is tabarnak, which is short for tabernacle, and we'll leave you to look up the etymology of how that became a swear word. But it's pretty solid that a religious word cut off so that it's not sacrilegious becomes a swear word. That sounds pretty standard. Yes. I had a couple other things to visit to play upon with you. So we're looking to point people to your Patreon. So what goes on over there? I'll pop the link in the chat and maybe you can let us know how you involve your fans on Patreon.
Well, my Patreon has a Discord first and foremost, and we have a lot of other historical fantasy authors in there.
Nice.
So we just kind of, all of our patrons end up in the same Discord. And then the last Friday of every month, we do Discord Friday, where we'll ask all the authors a question and they all respond, and then people kind of engage on it, and people there can give their answers too. Like we just had ours actually last Friday, and I think the question was, which trope would you like to die in a fire forever, or something along those lines.
Okay.
So yeah, mine was if we had talked at the beginning of the book, we could have avoided the entire plot.
Miscommunication. Yeah.
Look, I'm not averse to it when there's like a legitimate reason, like, hey, we're mortal enemies. Clearly we wouldn't have talked about this.
Right.
But like when it's ostensibly your buddy and you've got this like, wow, if only I'd told you this sooner, then your life wouldn't have been in danger.
Yeah. And there's multiple opportunities where it almost happens, but gee whiz, something just
happened to interrupt every time.
The opposite of this one is the eavesdropping that leads to like the terrible thing happening.
The misunderstanding because you didn't stay long enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe once I'll give it, but like if that happens more than once, I'm just like, come on. So yeah, I've read.
Yeah. And Star Wars always comes up during these chats at least once, just because Nicholas is a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm like a mild Star Wars fan, so like I'll join in sometimes. So Alderaan was Obi-Wan's fault. We decided that. Yeah. Yeah, no, just lots of chatting on the Discord. At the higher tiers, there are actually everyone has access to. It's about to be the first 3 chapters of both Echoes of the Imperium and The Witch Would Not. So those are available for all patrons. And then at the kind of beta reader level, people get to read the chapters as they are kind of polished and released. And I think we're up to like chapter 7, chapter 8 on both of them at this point.
Very cool.
Yes, we do, and/or like basically every time. I won't get started. I'll go forever.
Yeah. Well, the Patreon thing is an interesting model. So I will say I have a Patreon as well. And in case you don't know, it's a place where you can subscribe for like extra benefits. In our case, it's for authors who are writing books, but the books don't come out often enough to be like the whole shebang for income wise. And so you provide things on the side that also interest your readers and, you know, continue the relationship in other ways. So what Olivia has just mentioned sounds like a really fun way to interact and like have conversations outside of the books about tastes and, you know, fun favorite things. Another way that authors and other creatives will supplement income between books or before books are written and able to be sold is Kickstarter. So in my little research, I found out you had some huge Kickstarter success. May not be replicable for everybody, but can you tell us like what was the amazing headline that you can now drop in anyone's door, and what was that in a short, you know, in a short explanation? How do you think that came about? If you can give any advice.
So I had been planning a Kickstarter for like a special edition of Small Miracles, which is my contemporary fantasy, contemporary like cozy fantasy. And I had been planning it for a while, and I was like gearing up for it. And I had entered it into Spiffbo, which is the self-published fantasy blog-off competition. And I just entered stuff in Spiffbo because it was like a way to hang out with other authors and bloggers and stuff. And it was not really something because there's like 300 novels entered, and I wasn't really expecting to win. And wouldn't you know it, literally as I was launching the Kickstarter, they were like, "Oh, and by the way, Small Miracles has won Spiffbo." And so I got to add that to the Kickstarter basically, like as it was happening, and that went very well.
Button on there. So I haven't done a Kickstarter ever, but my friend Shannon, SD Houston, has recently done hers, and it was met and exceeded as well. And she was telling us all about the details of like how you get the little sticker and how you get on the list and these kinds of things. And then when I went to yours and saw the like funded in 30 minutes, it was like, that is a definitely stamp of approval from Kickstarter. So well done.
Yeah, no, that I wasn't expecting that either. I was like, I went into it and I was like, oh gosh, I was worrying about like how much I was gonna put for the funding goal, because I was like, maybe I could just pay for this out of pocket or pay for that out of pocket. You know, I really want to. And then it just blew me away. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Awesome. Amazing. So yeah, that's just a really feel good moment. So I wanted to just share it with people, and like, yes, it does happen, folks. So, you know, you gotta do that community work, get your work out there, be out there talking to people. And
it helps to not sleep and just make graphics all night. That was the month of the Kickstarter. That was what I was doing. I was just like, I was up, I was like, I need to make another graphic. I'll add another graphic. I've made another graphic.
Funny, that's what this month sounds like to me. Like just all the things, all the platforms, all the graphics, all the new video things I've never tried before. Throw it at people. Why not? Maybe it'll reach someone new. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, word to the wise. I went into that Kickstarter thinking like, yeah, I'll have to focus on it for the first day or two, and then like I'll work on other stuff for the month. That doesn't happen. You don't work on anything else for that month. You just end up getting on and being like, where's the Kickstarter at? Should I do another update? I should do another graphic.
Refresh. Really? It's not just me? No, I thought I was feeling pretty good. The first couple weeks I was like very proactive about this, checking things, writing things down so that I would have things to measure against, you know, like kind of trying to be objective. And then the third week, I sort of went into this, I have no more energy. I have to like be a turtle the whole day so that I can for the 1 hour and then go back to like sleep mode. So.
But you seem so perky right now.
Yeah. And then we had a heat wave with 100-degree weather, and I was like,
oh no,
worse. So I'm like sort of coming back from that, and it's nice and chilly. It's a little fall-like outside in Portland, but whoo, yeah, this weekend. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel like I don't know, go sit in an ice cold creek. That would be like the antidote for me. So, yes. Let me catch up in the chat. Star Watch Press. There's also access to playlists inspired by our characters. Oh yeah, when you say playlist, I wasn't sure if you meant like music.
Oh yeah. So Mr. Atwater is like, he is like a music maestro. I don't know how he does it, but he always knows the perfect song, like off the top of his head. If I'm like, I need a song for like, I don't know, I'm working on The Witch Would Not, I'd like some, I don't know, Victorian vibes or something. And he's like, immediately off the top of his head, here are 10 perfect songs, and he'll put me together a playlist.
How about this Adagio with strings? How about this Concerto number 3? And you're like,
he's just encyclopedic. It's amazing. And like half of these things are from movies that neither of us have ever seen, but he's just like memorized like, oh, this movie had great music for that.
Yes. Oh, I like this. Okay, I'm a big movie soundtrack keeper track of person. Tracker, keep of whatever. You know what I meant to say.
You need a frigid creek right now.
Yes, the brain is like a frigid. We'll just smooth right on over that. Michael Lombardo graphics. It's all new to me. This has been the summer of thumbnail design. Oh, welcome to the community. We're all learning, right? And no, Olivia was on it full time. I made sure to keep her fed and watered while she obsessed. So be sure to have someone to check in on you. Yeah, that is a key component. And then Michael says, it's Labor Day weekend coming up. Any plans for the end of the summer? Well, I can tell you what my plan is. It involves tomorrow's guest on the show. Tomorrow will be Leslie from the channel Books, Gurs, and Purrs. So tune in and you'll know exactly what I'm doing. And then it's Victoria Talks Writing, and then it's A Mighty Blaze, and then it's Martha Jones with the song from the series. So it's Fireside Chats all day, all week, all the time for me. What about you, Olivia?
Well, I only recently decided even. Yeah, I only recently decided actually that I was publishing The Witch Would Not indie, because I was going back and forth on whether I was going to shop at Trad or not. And I eventually was like, no, I'm going to do it indie. So yeah, I'm jumping on my cover and audiobook and marketing plan and all of that. And God, I just have to say, it feels so refreshing to be doing an indie launch again. It's just... everything gets done so much quicker, and I have full control over it, and I don't have to wait. Like, it's nice. Like, there are advantages to Trad, but there's just something so viscerally satisfying about being like, I can hire any cover artist I want.
When was the last time you did an indie launch?
Small Miracles.
Small Miracles.
I think that was last year. Either March or May was one of the ends.
Oh, that's the signed edition, so it would be before that. Okay, so not
no, the special Kickstarter was the special edition.
Got it. Okay, so I'm thinking like, have things changed since the last time? But no, you're still like well in the thick of things, because yeah, I just did a 10-year anniversary, 10 years in publishing chat with a couple folks who had also been in for 10 years. And we were like, yeah, do you remember when this was the case? And we're like chortling with each other. Like, oh my God, we've been around for a while. I feel like dinosaurs.
I will not date myself completely, but I do remember going to writing conferences where I was told that if you self-publish something, it's the kiss of death and no one will ever touch you.
Oh.
Because it was, that was back when people were like, self-published authors are losers. They're just outing themselves as people who can't get published traditionally. Wow, has that changed?
I'm past that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
I can't. I'm married. Okay.
Hands off. Hands off. Oh, this has been delightful. Thank you for getting through 7 of 10 scenes outlined, like fleshed out. That's pretty good.
That's impressive.
And I hope we helped you a little bit on your way, but that also gives you permission to like enjoy the rest of the evening, perhaps. Yes?
I think I will. I'll have something sweet.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I just replenished ice cream, so I think that may be where I'm heading after this.
Excellent.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today and watching. If you are here on the rewatch, you already have the power to enter into the secret giveaway contest. So leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, head over to Anita's channel where I met Olivia, AF Stewart. Read a cozy fantasy, do something fun this weekend.
Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Olivia, for coming onto the channel. It was lovely to be creative with you, charge the batteries, and I don't know, talk about steampunk, talk about Victorian, talk about all the things. So very fun. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest.
Have ice cream.
Yes, have ice cream. We'll talk again soon. Bye.
Bye.